You ready to get this dumpster fire on the road?
Light the match.
Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And you are about to enter my worst nightmare.
This scary
Ron's gonna
door.
have a great time. It's a scary door. What may be the final installment of our friends and family debacles. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. Yeah. We should probably intro like what we're okay. So the friends and family idea, we've done 1 month of these last year, where we basically, unfortunately, sometimes hand the steering wheel of the show to our friends and family. They can pick whatever the fuck they want us to watch, and when you do that, you end up with selections like M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender. God damn it!
Thank you, Soapey.
You know how I want to spend my Friday night is watching M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender.
Thank you so much, Soapey.
Fuck you, Soapey.
I'm partying for this, man. I got a good buzz going.
Yeah, Ron's been pre-gaming with, what are you drinking again?
Bushido, Way of the Warrior.
I am
premium
sober.
Japanese sake. Thank you, Bobby, by the way.
And I am sober, and that was a mistake.
Yes, it was. You would have so much more fun if you were drunk.
Well, I feel like even if I was drunk, I'm going to get so mad during this recording, I would have sobered myself up. So probably just been a waste of booze, to be honest.
We should have done a drunken commentary of this, is what we should have done. We should have Two Drunk Souls this.
Yeah, that would have been a good call.
This cast is so much... Or what?
Or the end of our friendship. You know, one of the two.
The cast in this movie is so much more disappointing now than it was back then.
That's a part of the problem too. There's some legitimately great actors in here.
Some of my favorites.
Who like
some that should be somewhere on the Mount Rushmore of Screenplay Rewind.
I mean, like, I feel like all these guys got Liam Neeson. Do you remember when Liam Neeson signed up to be Qui-Gon in episode 1 without reading the script?
The worst Jedi of all time.
And has been vocal about how much he thought that was a mistake. I feel like a lot of these guys are just like, yeah, it's fine. It's based off of, beloved Nickelodeon cartoon. What's the worst that can happen?
It's a kid's movie. Who's gonna care?
Little did they know. Yeah.
It's funny that was your go-to, because mine is always George Clooney always told everyone not to do a Batman movie or a comic book movie of any kind because he disappeared from Hollywood for a short period afterwards because no one would hire him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff.
It's unfortunate. And also just the fact that this movie is 12 years old blows my mind. And also the fact that it looks like it could have been a VHS recording in the 80s blows my mind. But we'll get into that. So yes, we mentioned we're kicking off our friends and family selection. This was selected by our friend Soapey, aka Kyle. I'm pretty sure if I ever meet him in real life, I will still call him by his gamertag Soapey. But as you do,
quote unquote friend.
Former friend. Now,
former friend Soapey.
Frenemy, borderline nemesis of the podcast. Because for some reason, dude, it's weird. Like, I can watch Dragon Ball Evolution, and like I'll get like irritated, but something about this fucking movie, man, it just now granted, I had a lot more fun watching it last night because I got to experience my girlfriend Aurora watching it for the first time, and then just hearing some of her reactions to the fucking nonsense was absolutely hilarious. And yeah,
did you give her a microphone?
Probably.
Dude, okay. We do have a tangential connection here to Dragon Ball Evolution, by the way. But
what's that?
Randall Duck Kim. But he's the old man in the temple that Judas' the Avatar.
Oh,
he's Grandpa Gohan.
Hey, excuse you. It's the Avatar. Okay.
The Avatar.
Which, by the way, that you hear actors fuck it up multiple times with like saying it either Avatar, Ovatar. There's like 12 different pronunciations. There's no like internal consistency, even to like he makes the decision to fuck up like the brand
They
like
do that.
how the brand is pronunciated, and they're not even internally consistent. Like half the actors say Avatar, half the actors say Avatar, half the actors say both Avatar and Avatar at different moments. It is so fucking weird, dude. Like pick a side.
It lends a bit of realism to it, Jeff. It's like the real world. No, they also do that with. Then they also call him sometimes Ong and sometimes Aang throughout the movie.
I feel like they're inconsistent with Avatar / Avatar. They're inconsistent with Sokka's name a lot. He gets called like Soka, Suka, like 12 different fucking things too. I think they're pretty consistent with Ong, unfortunately.
I get the feeling that this is one of those situations where they just hired the actors and brought them in to do their bit and then sent them on their way. Whereas there's a lot of stuff that is based on a property like this that they literally have homework of going and watching the show or going and reading the comic book or whatever, whatever they're working on. I feel like no one had any homework. They just brought them in, they read their lines, and then they left, cashed their paycheck and left.
Well, we know M. Night didn't have any homework.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was just reading up on this movie, and I saw how like the reason this movie exists is because one of M. Night's daughters dressed up as Katara for Halloween one year, and it's just like, man, if only she'd gone as like Sleeping Beauty or something, this whole debacle could have been avoided. It's so tragic, dude. Okay,
love this movie.
Yeah. I can't even. This feels less of a movie and more like an unfortunate LARP caught on camera. This doesn't even feel like a fucking movie sometimes.
There has to be a riff tracks of this, right?
I think there is. The Honest trailer is hilarious. If you haven't seen it.
Oh my god, I have not seen it.
It's very, very good. It's so on point. Yeah.
My god, there is totally the Last Airbender riff tracks.
We have to watch that. That's what I want to watch.
They have a trailer
drunk
too.
As hell.
Oh my god, it's available to rent pretty much everywhere too. Bill Corbett, Kevin Murphy, and Mike Nelson. That's the MST3K guys. That's not put out to anyone else. That is straight up. Tom Servo and Mike and Crow T Robot.
There you go. I
am getting that to go along with my Blu-ray of this movie.
Ron, why? I love you, man. Why the fuck do you own The Last Airbender?
This movie is exquisite.
Do you watch it as like that, like so bad that it's good? Is that your view of it?
It goes around full circle and becomes exquisite. Oh yeah.
Okay, I can kind of get behind that because now the granted, the scene where 6 earthbenders do 5 minutes of yoga just for one pebble to slowly lilt across the screen is the finest scene in cinema history and is worth this movie existing. I'm just throwing that out there. That is I could watch that gif on a loop all fucking day long. It is so good. I busted out. I knew it was gonna happen, and I still busted the fuck out laughing when it happened. I love it. I love that scene so much. It's just how do you see that and think that is acceptable to release in the middle of your $150 million budget movie? Like you can fucking throw a rock faster than that thing's going, dude. Like, come on.
Oh my god, some of the green screens in this are amazing.
Oh, dude,
they looked bad. They looked bad in 2010. But oh my god. And then like when they're in the frozen tundra and there's like no wind or anything blowing, and
yeah, it looks like a LARP. It doesn't look like a movie. The cinematography, you'll just know, like, this movie is just white people looking confused. The movie, it's just like, if you pay attention when you're watching this movie, pay attention to literally any actor in the background. Like, that's another really big problem. It looks so amateur when half the cast is just awkwardly standing in the background because they have no idea what to do, because M. Night has no idea what to do. Because you have so many sequences where they have this like circling camera thing that they're so hellbent on using all throughout the movie. It makes me want to vomit. And they spend so much time circling around the entirety of the cast, and at any point only like 2 characters are actually doing anything. It's so amateur, dude. It's so painful to watch. I hate it.
Okay, the one thing that I will say That is overused in this movie, but I want to say that was a thing that kind of started around this time in movies. There's a ton of movies that do that.
Yeah, but other movies that do that actually have blocking for people in the background, so they're not awkwardly standing around waiting for the camera to come somewhere like near them. It's so bizarre, dude. Like this movie is you could fucking play it in front of like a filmmaking class and like just like, okay, you know how they do this, don't do that, and then that's a good like lesson. It's brutal, dude.
Oh,
holy the fuck.
The opposite of Pulp Fiction, which is taught in classes for what to do.
Yeah.
So, the thing that is funny to me about this movie.
Oh, spoilers for M. Night's The Last Airbender.
Oh my god. So the funniest thing about this movie to me is you can tell by what filming technique there is that
there's technique. That's a strong word.
It is a strong word that is out of place, but I didn't know what else to call it. The filming attempt in this, you can tell, is that they really wanted this to be like M. Night Shyamalan's like kung fu movie.
Crouching Tiger.
Yeah,
they really want it to be.
They really wanted it to be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
And there's just so
what it is a taping of a high school drama of of fucking Avatar.
I think you disrespect all high school dramas when you compare them to this.
Only the Alien one.
Because in the defense of the high school theatrical group, they don't have $150 million from Paramount.
Where did the money go?
Exactly.
Where did the money
go? And
do
also,
you know what you can do with $150 million fucking dollars?
Yeah. Like, didn't we just recently cover like Deadpool had like close to half that? I think.
Yeah.
Fucking Deadpool had half the budget and looks like like in-game compared to this. But let's back up. How the fuck did M. Night get this movie? How does Paramount? This was the straw that kind of broke the camel's back for his career for a long time until Split kind of resurrected him temporarily until he kind of fucked it up again.
I never saw Split.
But what's interesting is this was during that. Like I said, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. But he was in fucking hot water like leading up to this. He had like The Lady in Water.
I was just saying the Lady in the Water and The Happening. You're saying this is the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yes, this literally has a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is one of the most reviled movies of the last like 20 fucking years.
The Village was before this.
But The Village went over a hell of a lot better than this did.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. Because the thing is, he was in hot water, but this was the thing that he almost never worked.
If the twist in The Village hadn't been at the end, I would have walked out, I think. That's the only reason I stayed till credits. It's like, well, I've only got 10 minutes left, so.
See, that's what I'm saying, though. When he's so many losses in a row, how do you go to him for a movie, period, let alone an action kung fu based like Nickelodeon show? It's so weird.
And not just a Nickelodeon show. This was like one of the most popular shows on television at the time. Everyone was watching this.
Everyone adores this cartoon.
There's an entire generation of people that this is their Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre that they went to him, because another thing too, it's a big difference filming something like Signs versus filming something like The Last Airbender when there's a budget like that going around.
Oh, Signs.
You're no longer filming. I actually like Signs.
I love Signs, but it's got its problems.
But how do you give that type of budget to a guy who's never done it before? It's just so weird. He hadn't had a hit since I think Signs, and I think Signs made a lot of money, but that had been several years before this. I think Signs happened in like the early 2000s. This was 2010. Let me look. It's just a perfect storm of what the fuck. And
Signs was 2002.
And there's apparently, there's reports of like a lot of studio interference, and that's why that's why you can see like there's a lot of inconsistencies. You mentioned, I missed it. You mentioned how our favorite, Mount Rushmore producer, Kathleen Kennedy, is associated with it. And that I guarantee,
as soon as I saw that, I was like, it all makes sense. Everything makes sense.
Yeah,
I pin it all on her for no reason.
I fucking guarantee you a lot of the inconsistencies abound from her because she loves getting her hands into projects like this and just fucking it up. Like even worse. This movie was doomed from the get-go because of who they got, because he just doesn't understand the material at all. But I guarantee you having her around did not help because she's fucking terrible. And I don't know how she still has the position she does at Lucasfilm. I just don't. But let's talk about how we first watched this movie back. It was 12 fucking years ago. Blows my mind. I feel like I lost an additional 12 years of my life watching this last night, but I digress. So what was your introduction? Wasn't this your introduction to the franchise? Because it was for me too, actually, coincidentally.
Yes, I knew nothing about this. This was the first thing ever related to Airbender I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I saw it. My girlfriend at the time was very, very heavily into the cartoon. Like, one of her favorite things, we went to the midnight showing of this. And by the way, if you want to be just surrounded by the most depressed group of fucking teenagers and kids in your life.
What was that like? Take a moment to explain that theater experience to me, Jeff.
There were people, dude. There were people in costumes, man. There were people in costumes for the midnight premiere of this. And I felt like I was, when the movie was over and we were walking out, it felt like I was leaving a wake. It was so bad. It was so depressing. And I hadn't watched the cartoon. So as I'm leaving the movie, I'm just like, wow, that was a shitty movie. Because, I've always been kind of a film nerd. I wasn't as much of a person to really analyze movie to the extent that I do now, because I pivoted to start writing a lot more and really like delving into the kind of like science behind it and really like dive into like the film criticism part of it. But I was like, man, that was a boring, poorly constructed movie. But then just seeing the disappointment, dude, it was hard. It was difficult to walk out of. It was just so sad. What was your experience seeing it, since you said you'd also just did you watch it at the movie theater, or was it kind of just on like DVD after the fact?
No, watched it at the movie theater, and I just remember being like, okay, I've seen not a lot that's worse, but I mean, it was cool, I guess. I like the martial arts part. That was it. All the 5 minutes of it.
What martial arts part? There's like one sequence where Ong is fighting in slow motion. There's about 10 seconds of him sliding like to the left, from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen in slow motion, where it kind of looks like a competently put together movie.
I have a question.
And that lasts about 10 seconds, that sequence. That is the only well shot and well framed actions and well choreographed action sequence in the entire movie. It's just all garbage.
I have a question.
Okay.
How come all of the firebenders in this movie are like, oh god, a strong breeze, I'm dead? Like,
that's another thing too. So if you watch the cartoon, the way that they use their bending, they attack with it. It's very like visceral. It's almost like a Dragon Ball fight, when they're very kinetic with the way that they use their abilities. And it's very, it's a cartoon, and they're very in your face with their powers, especially the firebenders. Everything happens in slow motion. Yeah. Like, do you remember the sequence where Katara is fighting Zuko in the cave, and he sends a second fireball at her that is moving 1 mile an hour. It could not be slower. She has enough time to go fucking write up a grocery list and do her fucking taxes by the time the second fireball happens.
It's like the steamroller in Austin Powers.
Yeah. It's like Deadpool. You're gonna be killed by this Zamboni in 5 minutes. And she looks over at it like she got fucking blindsided. Like, Katara, you fucking suck. I'm sorry, you fucking suck if you didn't see that coming. And that is everything. I mean, obviously the infamous Earthbender scene where you see 6 Earthbenders doing 5 minutes of fucking, what is it, like yoga stretches? I don't know. And you see that one pebble go across the screen, and they just think that's acceptable. And I think a big part of it too is if you read into the production of this, there's talks about how M. Night because he just didn't understand how to use this much of a budget over the duration of a movie, because that's a skill, being able to allocate the resources properly. That's a skill. That's a skill they all have to learn. And if you know how to get to the third act of
he's basically an indie filmmaker. I mean, M. Night Shyamalan was the name that got you to go to the movie, which is one of the reasons why they picked him.
He was one of the first indie movie guys to kind of hit. It was
one of the first big ones in a long time. Kevin Smith was probably
Tarantino was probably the first, and then Tarantino, and then Kevin Smith, and then I would consider M. Night kind of like the third one after that, because you gotta remember, like, The Sixth Sense happened in like 98. It wasn't too far after them,
right?
But you just think about it. There's a lot of reports about how in that production, they filmed a lot of the introductory scenes. Yeah, like when they're going around the I think it's the Southern Water Tribe, and they go and he's looking for Aang. There's reports that he spent about half of their budget just filming the first act of the movie, and you don't see it. And that part doesn't even look good.
No.
It's brutal, dude. It's just it's a fucking enigma, man. I just don't understand how this movie got greenlit under this director, and how they see that script and think it's okay. Like, man,
because again, this is a bunch. The director, the producers, everyone involved with this film, the mindset is it's got brand recognition. It's a kid's movie, so who cares? Just do it. That's what it is. I guarantee you. It's a kid's movie. Who's going to notice the fact that no one can say their lines? We have these long, awkward, lingering camera shots of people. There is a scene where we're just going to lay out the script for the rest of the movie right after the Earthbenders, where everyone's full face is the full frame, and there's even a moment where Ong is the one talking, but we're looking at Katara and Jasper from Twilight, whatever his name is, I forgot, and we're just looking at them as the other guy not even on screen is talking like it's ADR that they redid his lines.
It's so amateur hour too. There's like, to your point, there's a lot of like weirdly edited, put together scenes that are amateur hour. There's a lot of do you remember this? There's one sequence that really made me take notice of that. Do you remember when he first has the the kind of dream sequence with the dragon
with John Noble?
There's a moment where he's talking to the dragon, right? But the real gist of that sequence is Katara going to him when he's in the Avatar state, and he's not in control, and her kind of connecting with him emotionally to bring him back to the real world. She's talking. It's supposed to be an emotional moment for Katara and Aang, and it is in the cartoon. It's a great moment. She's talking for half of that sequence, and you don't even see her. And then they cut back, and the cut back to is so abrupt that it almost feels like they cut half of her dialogue, and that entire sequence is supposed to be about her, and she's never even on screen. It's so weird. You just hear her. The sound mixing is very bad at times. There's a lot of amateur hour bits where, especially in the Fire Nation, when they're walking around like the giant halls and stuff, some of the sound mixing just sounds like it wasn't even mixed. Like they just slapped it together. It's hard to watch sometimes, man.
So the first thing that called my attention to the ADR, additional dialogue recording, for those that don't know, the first thing that called my attention is at the very beginning of the movie, when you have the beam of light shooting into the sky. You can tell when it cuts to Zuko that was just a quiet moment of him just turning and noticing the light. So he doesn't move. His jaw doesn't move. There's no movement except him turning towards that light, the shot over his shoulder from behind him. But the dialogue is Zuko going, "Uncle, look!" And I was like, what? And then everything after that, I couldn't help but notice. A good ADR, you don't notice. And everything after that, I started noticing that they are constantly cutting away from the characters that are speaking, because they had to go in and re-record the dialogue. And it would look like a dubbed movie if they used that. So they had to cut away from the people talking.
And what's really, really crazy is usually when you do forced ADR like that, it's to make the movie more cohesive. And this movie has one of the worst scripts I have ever. I mean, some of the shit that comes out of these fucking poor kids' mouths. I mean, granted, the the Ong actor is fucking terrible. The guitar actress is terrible. Is the Jasper guy good in Twilight? Because he's not good in this. But I don't know if that's all on them, half on them. We know how big of a problem M. Night was with this, but
My wife is shaking her head no.
I can guarantee, like, just the way the Ong kid especially delivers some of his lines is painful to listen to. It's so bad.
Most of these people are painful to listen to. Now the guy that plays Jasper in Twilight, the thing that I don't know because I've never read those books, is that I feel like he's doing the best with what they're giving him to do. Possibly, I'm gonna give him that one. Because he is not the worst part of those movies by far, and he's not in them much. He doesn't have a lot to do. That character's not used in the movies much.
Yeah. I think there's two people who are doing as good of a job as they can in this movie. Granted, they're just I think
Cliff Curtis and John
not
Noble.
even him. I think even Cliff Curtis is kind of bad in this movie.
He's stiff. He's real stiff.
He's very stiff. Part of that is probably
directing.
M. Night just not even having any fucking. First of all, you don't even really hear or see Firelord Ozai until like the last season of the show. He is just like a background character.
He's a looming shadow.
Yes, exactly.
A force of nature and a looming shadow.
And when you just blatantly show him doing nothing but acting stiff and just really doing nothing but kind of directing meetings, it makes him an uninteresting character, and it doesn't make him scary at all. So he just doesn't understand the character at all. The two people who I think are actually doing the best they can given what they've been, put on the page. But I think Sean Tobe as Uncle Iroh is doing the best that he can because the guy is just a good actor. Everyone recognized him as Tony Stark's buddy in the cave.
See my family.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I love that guy. He's doing the best that he can.
Hold on. Who's Iroh? Isn't it Iroh?
I fucking hate this movie. Why? What of all the things? And another thing. Okay, let's talk about that real quick. The fucked up, like you're talking about like changing into the Avatar and Ong and all this shit. And when people confronted M. Night about it, he started up this whole kind of like rampage about wanting to be like, like taking away the cultural appropriation of it. Motherfucker, you have save your white children at the Inuit tribe. What the fuck are you talking about? The only white people at that entire fucking village at the beginning of the movie are the protagonists and their fucking grandma, dude. Why? I just don't understand. Like when you have, I just don't understand, man. It's just now granted, I think there are some instances where people, in fan bases and stuff, they take like whitewashing accusations too far. Like you can take it too far. It is all 1000% justified in this movie. It's so brutal. And another thing.
Oh no.
Another thing.
Oh no.
Why is it that when a great sequence in the movie is when they show Zuko looking at the little like pictograph thing of him and his family, when it's clearly meant to be a Japanese family? Why is the Fire Nation clearly like Middle Eastern? It's so fucking weird. Their names are Zhao, Ozai, Iroh, and Zuko. Why are they
Zula.
Why are they not Asian? It's like even when he's having representation, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. And you have when they go to the other fucking there are some Inuit people actually at this other one at the beginning, and then they go to the other water tribe and it's just all bland fucking generic white guys. I'm just like, what the fuck's happening up here?
Well, they're in the north, Jeff. You see, it's different because this one's in the north, the other one's in the south.
This movie sucks so fucking hard. Holy fuck. I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
I love that there is literally a moment with Cliff Curtis walking and talking, and he literally cannot put his arms down or his costume will fall off. There's a moment where his elbows are always at a 90-degree angle when he's talking to what's the stand-up comedian guy, Asif Manvi.
I think so. There's also another great moment where, do you remember where they show him when he's sitting in his throne and he's doing his best to look menacing, but it looks like if he moves a certain way, the chair's gonna collapse?
Yeah. $150 million, people.
$150 million. Yeah, okay, so the two people I think are actually doing the best they can. I already mentioned Sean Toba's uncle Ero. Fuck me. And I think Dev Patel as Zuko is doing the best he possibly can. And Dev Patel actually talked about doing homework, watched all of the show, is actively trying to kind of get that character down. But goddamn, the dialogue is just so brutally bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. I have to find the quote. My favorite quote, maybe in the history of cinema, is in this.
Oh no. Oh no.
Hold on. Let me just find it.
We didn't even give the rundown of the cast, but did you notice that John Noble was the dragon?
I didn't until you told me that, and that also makes me very, very sad.
That makes me so sad because
John Noble has his fucking IMDb tarnished with this piece of shit.
I fucking love that, man.
I found it.
All right.
I found it.
All right.
All right. It's time we show the Fire Nation that we believe in our beliefs as much as they believe in theirs. M. Night, bruh, that's not worthy of first draft, buddy. I'm sorry. I gotta go get that tattooed on my chest like now. That's gonna happen.
We believe in our beliefs as much as they believe in theirs.
And also Ron.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they have a production budget problem, right?
They have a production budget?
They have a production?
They?
You have a huge production budget problem.
Uh-huh.
So every time Aang goes in the spirit world, let's take the time to unnecessarily have a shitty looking CGI dragon instead of just having Roku, the previous avatar who could have been a dude. Why is he not just a dude? Why? The decisions like that just make me question why this movie got greenlit. I just don't. Like, what are you doing? It's not that difficult. It's just like, come on, man. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. And it's just like every single time he decides to do anything that's outside of the source material, it just makes it even worse miraculously because it's already so bad. It's already just such a bad abbreviation. It's just like really unfortunate when even moments that should be like idiot proof, like the blue spirit sequence where Zuko breaks him out of the prison camp thing.
Oh yeah.
It's one of like the best episodes of the show. It's so good. They have so many clever bits of their powers, so many cool set pieces in the 20-minute cartoon. Just take any of the action sequences and just one-to-one translate them and they will be better than what you have here. And it's just, I just don't understand. I don't understand how you don't at least try to translate some of these like sequences. I just can't, dude.
Dude, I am flipping through the IMDb photos, and one of the images is them at the premiere. Everyone getting their picture taken in front of the back wall that has the title plastered all over it. Cliff Curtis just looks pissed off to be there.
Oh man, you should hear.
Everyone else looks so happy. Cliff Curtis looks so pissed in these photos.
Have you ever heard Dev Patel talk about this? Because Dev Patel was like one of the like 3 people to actually escape this fucking movie with a goddamn career. Man, this movie, the production went over so bad and he was so unhappy with everything. He actually turned away from doing any big budget movie for about 10 years. He just wouldn't touch it. Even to this day, he still basically only does independent film. And I don't blame him. It was just that brutal of an experience for all these poor fucking actors and actresses that shouldn't have been cast in the first place. How do you listen to Noah Ringer, the kid playing Ong, deliver any imaginable line of dialogue and think he's fit to be the protagonist in anything, let alone a Hollywood production? He's terrible. Good God, he's terrible. And almost everyone is bad. He stands out amongst the bad.
I know.
That's impressive.
It's like they gave him absolutely no direction. They gave him no kind of like. Usually you go through some kind of coaching or something. It's like they just left him to. It's like they just used all of his first takes. I sent you something in the Discord.
Insane. This was his.
I want you to look at this.
Just real quick though. This was his first acting role. He had one other acting role. Did you remember him being in Cowboys and Aliens?
No,
I did not remember that.
I did not remember
his
that at
only
all.
2 acting roles are Ong.
No. You're forgetting the video game of Avatar: Avatar: The Last Airbender.
God damn it! This fucking movie. Okay, let me see this picture that you sent me.
Yeah, I want you to tweet this also, because this is Cliff Curtis. If he puts his arms down, he loses the costume. Do you see it?
That's almost worthy of being the Twitter banner. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That entire scene, his elbows are bent at a 90-degree angle because he's literally keeping the costume on.
Everybody fears the T-Rex.
All dinosaurs feared the T-Rex. Oh my god.
Let's write down the rest of this fucking godforsaken cast. Okay. Yeah, no ringer. I'm sorry, dude. You never should have been. It's not your fault. You should not have been chosen. It is.
You are not the chosen one.
Nicola Pelt as Katara. Good God, her voiceover.
She is so painful.
Makes me sad.
We spent
bad.
like 30 minutes on Cate Blanchett's voiceover at the beginning of Lord of the Rings. And I could spend another 30 minutes on how bad any of her voiceover is.
Oh, it's so
and again,
fucking brutal.
To the actors and actresses, I really don't think a lot of this is their fault. I mean, I think some of it, but I think a lot of this falls on director and lack of coaching and casting department.
The script. Dude, Gary fucking Oldman couldn't deliver some of these lines and make it work. It's
I would love
bad.
to see him try, though. I'd pay money to see him try.
I would too.
But yeah.
Good God. Also, Ron.
Yes.
You have John Noble as part of the cast. Just have that fucker do the narration. He's great at it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Have have Sean Tobe do it. He's a legitimate actor. Like literally, why are you picking one of the 2 worst actors in the movie to do the voiceover? You can have anyone do the voiceover because it's fucking narration.
Yeah.
Why?
And either one of those 2 characters would make sense.
Exactly.
Especially the dragon.
They would make more sense because they're more omniscient to the past of the storyline, you know, like the ongoings of the plot.
Because Iroh is trying to not let Zuko relive the mistakes his son made, right? And that his whole advantage, his whole point of view.
Well, his main point of view is he's incredibly attached to Zuko because he's now essentially he views him as his own son because his son passed away in the previous war. But man, and that's one of the things too. It's like it's really, really sad when you see a property like this, you know, get mishandled. But it's even more sad to see this one get mishandled in this way because a lot of people now granted, there are a lot more people that have seen the cartoon and view the project, you know, as wholesome as it is, as just how good of, you know, this movie feels like incredibly dour for a lot of it too. I mean, that's, you know, like there's so many sequences, you know, like Sokka's character in particular is kind of like the comedic relief for the cartoon in a lot of instances.
Right.
Motherfucker doesn't smile until the princess shows up like an hour into the movie.
Which, by the way, him and the princess, Twilight is a better love story.
That is accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
The script is so lazy. When they show up and they start talking, he doesn't even take the time to establish their love story. He just has fucking what's your face Katara voiceover, and they became fast friends. Go fuck yourself, M. Night. Go fuck yourself, dude.
Christina was like, friends. Oh my God,
it's fucking brutal. Let's talk about the one huge thing he changed too that just makes the entire fucking property not make any goddamn sense. The decision to make the firebenders have to bend established fire makes them automatically the shittiest benders when they're supposed to be like the most fearsome one because of how powerful they can be and how deadly they can be. Their fire blast are so slow, they hardly ever catch anything on fire, and they have to bend established fire. Do you remember the sequence in the middle of the movie we talked about where they go to the earthbending like prison?
And
little camp
they
thing
just
they're in?
have stations of
They
like
have-
giant cauldrons of fire around.
All you have to do
Is extinguish those.
Extinguish the fire with the fucking dirt, and they have no power.
Yep.
They're so dumb. They're so like. Why would you change that?
Did you hear
it
at the
makes
end?
No fucking sense.
Did you hear the
that there's
sequel hook at the end?
With the he makes it like sequel hook that like, oh, Sozan's comet coming is gonna make the firebenders competent. That's no. The whole point in the fucking cartoon is that makes them unstoppable.
Now
that's what makes that. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
The comet coming makes them like unbeatable, and that is what adds the ticking clock to make Aang have to learn all the elements. It is the whole driving force for the plot, and what makes it dramatic is because they're on a fucking time crunch. And you're gonna tell me, oh, the comet makes them competent, makes them viable as fuck you, dude. Like, it makes no sense. God damn it. That's what's sad too. Some of the producers now granted, fucking Kathleen Fuckface probably had more control because she's a fucking known name for some godforsaken fucking reason. But man, some of the people at Nickelodeon were involved as producers. Like, this must have been fucking devastating for Kanitsuko and the other creator to watch this shit. Like DiMartino, I think is the other guy's name. It's just like, man, to watch your fucking passion project that like puts you on the map, and it's one of the most beloved cartoons of the last like 30 years, just to watch it be bastardized to this extent. I'm so glad that Netflix got a hold of the cartoon, the original cartoon in Korra, and it kind of had its resurgence to the point to where they realized, oh shit, people still really love this, and they got their little Avatar Studios production back. Because good God, if this had essentially killed the franchise, I would have been just so sad. It's so unfortunate, man. Yeah.
Take a breath, dude.
I'm not gonna have a fucking voice by this fucking Soapey.
Woosah.
God, it makes me mad. I adore this cartoon so much. And that's another thing too. Let's talk about that. We mentioned how this was my introduction.
Yes.
So I went to the theater, watched everyone have their childhoods bastardized and murdered on screen for 2 hours.
Now they know how I feel. Yes.
Yeah, and they all left the theater. I was like, man, that movie sucked, but whatever. And then I watched the cartoon, and the first season's good. I was like, yeah, that's really unfortunate that they fucked it up so bad. I love the second season and third season of the cartoon so much. So I was like, oh no, what did he do? And then after I finished the show for the first time, I went back and watched the movie. It's just like, good God, what a travesty, man. It's just so sad.
The thing that is the most sad about this movie, the biggest tragedy, is no cabbages anywhere in this movie.
That's a good point.
Not a single cabbage. Where's my cabbages, Jeff?
You know how you can buy the Funko of the cabbage guy in his cabbage stand?
His
I need to own that.
Is it Ba Sing Se or whatever that?
Like, yeah, Ba Sing Se is the main Earth capital.
That he has the cart, and like bad things happen to the cart, and he's just like, my cabbages.
Yeah, I think the first time they meet him is at the second. I forget the name of it, but it's not Ba Sing Se, but it's the like the second biggest Earth capital. Omashu, I think is what it's called.
Don't they show him as an old man in Korra, and he's just like, my cabbages?
Oh, no, what's interesting in Korra, he has become a billionaire. He has Cabbage Corp. He has Cabbage Corp.
We need to rename our podcast to Cabbage Corp.
Cabbage Corp.
This is the Cabbage Corp podcast.
It's like one of the most genius jokes in Korra, but his company gets framed as the producers of the weapons for the villains, and they sanction and take away his company. So as he's being carried away, like the grandson of the Cabbage guy, like, not my Cabbage Corp. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
God. It's just so painful.
The one thing that I will say, by the way, the one good thing I will give this is the majority of the costumes I like.
I think some of them look okay, but some of them, I think the Water Tribe at the end, like they look like cosplayers, but not good ones.
So here's the thing: a movie that is usually of this quality, the costumes again look like high school production, right? A lot of these costumes, I think, are actually really well done. I think that is the only thing I can say that about. Like Iroh should look ridiculous. Ong looks ridiculous with the red cape. Everything else on
he also
his
just looks
costume.
ridiculous because of his stupid face. That does not help.
Oh.
He looks confused and constipated for 90% of this movie, and I'm just like, why?
They took all the joy out of the character is the biggest problem with him. He is, yes, he's dealing with something traumatic. I get it. Yes, he's the last of his kind and all that. But the way that character deals with that pain in the show is the same way that Vash the Stampede deals with it in Trigun, which is trying to be lighthearted and trying to laugh. They took this as like, no, this character shouldn't be happy. He should be dour and sad.
They DCU'd DCU'd it.
Yeah, exactly.
The first fucking thing Aang does in the cartoon is he wants to go penguin sledding.
Yeah, because
he's a 12-year-old kid who has all the weight of the world on his shoulders, even before he goes into the iceberg. Just a simple fact that he gets told this at his age, with an impending potential war, is just like all the weight in the world on this poor kid's shoulders. But his character, like to your point, is he's all about trying to fixate on remaining a kid, and he just kind of pushes away the responsibility. And like the entire first season is his character arc is switching to the point to where he can still be himself but accept his responsibility. Yep. And he never does that in this movie. Is there a single character arc in this movie? I don't think so.
There's not
a single character arc.
They do the character arcs through narration.
And like another huge problem with this movie is Katara talks more in the narration than she does to Aang as a character.
Yes.
So like they have this moment in the cave, like towards the end when Aang is back in the spirit world. That's not even the spirit world. It's like this shitty fucking representation of it that doesn't make any goddamn sense. But he's trying to sell you on like Katara's emotional connection to Aang. Motherfucker, they haven't spoken to each other in like 45 minutes. They don't interact.
They don't.
There's no human interaction. It's all the narration, and it's bad narration.
It's really banking on you being invested in the cartoon, which is even worse. Because if you're invested in the cartoon, you do not like this movie.
Oh, let's talk about the third act, dude. You want to talk about a fucking ball buster? If there's one
third act,
there's one thing that you gotta have to at least make like the final fight sequence cool. In the cartoon, after Zhao kills the ocean spirit fish, kills the moon spirit fish, and then the ocean spirit fish lets Aang control it. Aang goes murder kaiju mode in the coolest way in the cartoon, and like slices ships in half and stuff, and it's so badass.
Is he a giant koi?
Yes.
Okay, so that's from the cartoon.
That's from the cartoon.
Okay.
In the fucking movie, he raises the tidal wave and doesn't even use it against the ships. He just raises it for like 5 minutes and doesn't do anything. And they just all leave. Why would they leave?
The water horse told him to show them the power water, not use it, Jeff. Okay, oh my God, just now, the editor of this movie
Wait, what?
Edited Spaceballs, Short Circuit 2, The Abyss, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, True Lies, Species, Dante's Peak, Titanic, Mystery Men, Training Day, 13 Days, Tears of the Sun, that King Arthur movie apparently, Shooter, The Happening, Terminator Salvation, Last Airbender, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and both Snow White Huntsman movies, Monster Trucks apparently, and The Equalizer 2. So
Yikes.
they got the guy that is great at editing action movies for the movie that has no action. It's just trying to splice in ADR, the movie.
And I just want to talk about the cinematography, dude.
Oh my God,
just
James Newton Howard did the music for this? This movie
Yeah,
had music?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, he's bros with M. Night. So
Why?
well, I think he did all of his earlier movies back when M. Night actually made good movies, but yeah.
Wow.
Like I think he did The Sixth Sense, and
He did a lot of the same movies the editor did. So M. Night is one of those that sticks with a crew when he gets one.
So that just shows you that a huge problem with it, because he is capable of. I mean, the guy fucking edited Terminator 2. The guy is capable of editing action. There's just no action to edit, and it's just M. Night's fault. And who did the cinematography for this? Out of curiosity, let's see. Cinematography by
Andrew
Lesney. The guy has an Oscar trophy.
I see that. That's his IMDb.
He did the cinematography for Lord of the Rings. What? All right.
Jeff just blew a blood.
It's M. Night's fault. It's got to be
It's
M. Night, dude.
fault.
How do you have the cinematography of Lord of the Rings and the editor of Terminator 2, and you get the fucking yoga bending pebble throw?
Newton Howard, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. So those of you that believe the director of a movie doesn't matter, they fucking matter.
Case in point.
Case in point. Right here.
Yikes, dude.
Oh, big yikes. He also did that King Kong movie we will not speak of.
Oh, dude. Let's see. Let me just scroll through some of the pictures. If there's anything I've forgotten to bitch about, because I could be here. I could be here all fucking day. I could do this all day.
I treated this movie as if I was on the Mystery Science Theater team the entire way through, and it was one of the few times in my life my wife found me funny.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was great. But I agree. It is a family movie. It says here.
Appa in this looks like nightmare fuel that feasts on the souls of children. I just want to throw that out there. He's like the most adorable.
Is that the
like,
buffalo?
The Sky Bison. He's one of the most like adorable and amazing characters in the show. He's a fucking bison that flies, and he actually has like his own character in the show. And he looks like he eats children for fun. Why does he look terrifying?
He looks like the screenshot you sent me of fucking Ghost of Christmas Past. in
the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol is what I couldn't think of. Muppet Christmas Carol, yes. I got to Muppet and my brain shut down.
Also another thing that makes this movie worth existing is I implore everyone to go to YouTube and search for the Last Airbender audience reactions. There is one clip where it's like 2 minutes of it was some news channel doing a little segment where they talked with like 5 or 6 people that had gone out got out of the movie. And it is so funny just hearing them just like talking about it sucks. One guy is just like, this movie would have been 10 times better if he had just said "ang" one time. It's like, I feel you, dude. Yeah,
and then when you're done,
look that up.
Then when you're done, go look at the audience reactions to Endgame.
Oh yeah, and also watch the honest trailer for The Last Airbender.
I'm looking that up as soon as we're done here.
Another thing too. Like an amazing way that.
Thank you, Soapey.
That just shows how fucking incompetent M. Night is at adapting this material.
So much, Soapey. So many thank yous.
So, fuck you, Soapey. Fuck you, Ron. Continue. You're gonna tell me, basically, the antagonist of the entire first season, Zhao. You're gonna kill him not with the ocean spirit fucking drowning him in like the most metal way possible when he just gets pulled away into the abyss. It's so cool.
But
he gets drowned by 5 rando white dudes at the Inuit tribe.
It was 4, wasn't it?
Something like that. Why?
Here's my question.
It's so stupid. If you're gonna change, why not have Iroh or Zuko kill him to at least have like a character arc?
Because these are children's characters in a children thing. They can't have those characters doing that kind of thing.
Then just have the fucking ocean spirit drag it into the abyss. All you have to do is show one of your shitty CGI water puddles, pull him into the water, and then he dies off screen. And
it's like they made the water in hit film.
Instead, they got the dudes who look like they do fucking just like security at the fucking water tribe bank, and they just drown the main antagonist of the movie.
The water bending rent-a-cops.
Yeah, like the fucking Paul Blart water cops that just show up out of nowhere on their fucking segways, and they drown him. And they walk out of the movie.
Dude, they literally like nod to themselves at a job well done, and then NSYNC just walks away.
Do you remember in Scott Pilgrim, the vegan police? How they high five each other? These are the vegan police, but not awesome. God damn it, dude.
Fish isn't vegan? Dude. Okay, here's my question. If you are a firebender, why don't you just boil the water away?
That's a good question. There's so many, dude. Why are you nerfing the fucking Fire Nation with your patch notes so hard to the point they're fucking worthless, dude?
Can I point out something that was driving me nuts?
Yeah, go ahead.
Through the whole thing, there's this emphasis in the movie. The Fire Nation
emphasis in this movie.
The Fire Nation came with their machines. I saw a boat. What? I saw a car, and I saw hats with drills on top of them.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? They had fancy hats.
They had a flame sprayer attached to a boat.
And they use fire, but can't set anything on fire.
Yes. Also, I love that this is one of those movies where it's about a giant war, and everyone walks away unharmed.
God damn it, dude.
Because, I think war. What is it good for?
Another thing that's just like painful, and it just is so obvious that they blew the budget inappropriately. But they have so many sequences. Blown. Oh god, there's this really funny sequence.
The 150 million of this went to cocaine and hookers, is what happened.
Dude,
this is the story of Atari.
There's this one really funny moment where it's like in the middle of the movie where Ong fuckface is doing some water yoga training, and he's standing next to Katara next to a stream of water in which she's clearly supposed to be bending water, and she's just doing the yoga and nothing is happening. and there's another huge problem too that we talked about earlier. Remember we were talking about how the way that they use their powers in the cartoon is very frenetic, it's very kinetic, it's very tactile, it's very fast. Like when they wave their hand, something happens and it makes it, exciting.
They try to stylize this real hard.
Well, I think that was because of the budget, because probably. I think they pivoted to have them take 3 years to charge up a fucking pebble throw, because they didn't have enough money to have them constantly be doing as many special effects as their hands are waving. I think that's the only explanation. So because it just makes it, because I think they were supposed to be, when they're doing their fucking Dragon Ball Super Saiyan power up to Kaioken or whatever to power up their pebble throw, I think they're supposed to be like
shit flying around.
Shit. I think it's supposed to be a big special effect like Frenzy, but they just blew all the fucking money on nothing, and they just couldn't show it.
I think that is hookers, Jeff. That's not nothing.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Oh my god!
I think that's what happened. To me, that is the only reason you would make it. It's just so dull to watch. Even when they actually have them doing shit, it's so dull and it's so slow. Like I feel like if the Fire Blast and the rocks moved at normal speed, this movie would last like 15 minutes. I feel like half the runtime is watching projectiles slowly move across the screen. Good god.
$3.99, Jeff. That's all it is. All it is $3.99, and then you have riff tracks.
I feel like I need to make that happen. Like I feel like the fucking the projectile in Pong moves across the screen faster than any projectile in this movie.
Blip, blip, blip.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Good god!
So good. It's so good.
Good god. I just can't. The audacity to open the movie with book one like you think you're getting a fucking sequel off of this horseshit.
Yeah. Okay.
Good luck with that, buddy.
Is it just because it's so bad, or is there a rights issue? Because this was Nickelodeon and it's not in the Paramount Plus catalog.
Oh,
They're all
I
owned
think
by the
they have-
same people, and the guy that was over Nickelodeon is now the guy over Paramount. And this is not in the Paramount Plus
Well,
catalog. The cartoon is, but the movie's not.
They want you to forget the movie ever happened. Like especially now that they're
No, they just need to do what Disney does and put a content warning on it that this may make you stupid watching it. And
warning,
boom,
loss of IQ points.
Warning, yes.
But I think if you're not aware, they opened up Avatar Studios with Kanizko and DiMartino. They're developing like a movie that's been greenlit and like another cartoon series, I believe. So they are just pretending. I just saw the image you put in the Discord. That's amazing.
It's the Last Airbender riff tracks poster.
That's amazing. Yeah, everyone needs to go Google that because it's fantastic.
I love the hair dryer, and he doesn't even have any hair, but he's an airbender.
Another huge fucking part of how M. Night just doesn't fucking. I swear to God, he watched like half of an episode while he was snorting cocaine off of a hooker's ass, and that's like all of the background that he had for this. Zuko is supposed to be irreparably scarred. Zuko is supposed to be disfigured. It is
He's
part
still
of his
a pretty
character.
boy.
There are moments where he has a cloak on and he has the hood on. You can't even tell he has a scar at all.
You can't tell it without the cloak or the hood.
He is constantly embarrassed and ashamed of it. It is part of his character.
In the cartoon, he looks like Two-Face.
He's supposed to be disfigured to the point where when people look at him, they look like
people look at Deadpool.
In Deadpool, exactly. Yeah. I was about to say the way that people react in the streets in the first Deadpool movie when they see him scarred is the way people are supposed to react to Zuko, and he doesn't even look scarred at all. He's in 3/4 the scenes, and when you do see it, he has like 2 minor lines of hair missing, and you can't even tell he has a prosthetic on.
He has a prosthetic on? That was a serious thing. That wasn't a joke. No, he's supposed to look like he's supposed to look like an avocado fucked a topographical map of Utah.
Yeah, it's so
watch Deadpool.
Fucking stupid, dude. Just why? What? If you don't understand the material, why would you stake your fledgling career on it? Why would he accept this? He had never done action. He had never done anything with humor. He'd never even done a comedy. Like everything this show stands for, everything that it's known for, he's never done. Why would you do it? I just don't understand it. And what's really fucked up is I'm, for the most part, outside of a couple instances, I'm kind of an M. Night apologist. I really like The Sixth Sense. I really like Unbreakable. I really like Signs. I really like Split. I like some of the stuff that's in Glass. There's some of his movie. Oh, The Visit is very good.
Glass.
Some of the stuff that's in, dude, Glass is fucking Schindler's List compared to this shit. I like The Visit a lot. The movie that kind of saved his career when he rotated back to doing horror movies, you know. And it's just like, man, what the fuck were you thinking? I just don't understand. Yeah, if you want to know, Ron, just how damaging this movie was for M. Night's career, the only reason Split was greenlit is because he personally provided the production budget for it. They made him hand over, I think it was like $20 million to fund the movie. So if Split hadn't been a hit, he basically never would have worked again.
Talk about indie filmmaking.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. So before I pop a blood vessel, anything else you want to talk about in this movie? I feel like I've about to lose my voice from screaming, understandably so. And yeah.
The thing I was going to ask you, in all seriousness, is you saw this movie in theaters, thought, well, that was a bad movie. At what point did that turn to anger for you? When did you start watching the show because of this? And at what point did this just turn into anger? So
in the background of pretty much right after we would watch this movie, my girlfriend at the time, she was adamant, the movie wasn't good, but the cartoon is amazing. And we started
just let
watching
me show you.
Yeah, just let me. She pretty much just like, let me just sit you down and just watch the
I
cartoon.
can prove it. Hear me out.
And I really, really like the first season, but the second and third seasons of the cartoon, when they get really, just really in depth with the characters, especially with like Zuko and Iroh, like it's a Nickelodeon cartoon, Ron, and they have a fucking entire segment of the second season dedicated to Iroh honoring
Hero.
the birthday. Fuck you. The birthday of his son who had passed away, and he just cries next to a tree, and that's like the ending of it's like Tales of Ba Sing Se, and it like made me cry. It's so good. It's like some of the characters in the cartoon are so fleshed out, are so wonderfully acted, and so just perfectly developed. I think the cartoon is just so good.
A lot of the characters and a lot of the storylines do the Batman the Animated Series or the Justice League cartoon thing of, yeah, it's a goofy thing about a guy that dresses up as a bat and jumps off of rooftops, but these characters are real fucking characters, even though it's a kid's show. Like,
yeah,
that whole show, we keep going back to, yeah, it's Nickelodeon, but it really stands apart from everything. I don't have the same appreciation for it that you do, but I did like it when I watched it. And
yeah,
after watching this movie, we're like, there's no reason why our kids couldn't watch it, right? Like, we own the series and it's on all of our streaming services.
Oh, it's wonderful. So, I think and that's one of the other things that that makes me appreciate it as much as I do. And in the same way that the Batman the Animated Series is, you can appreciate Avatar, the cartoon, you can, whether you're 8 years old or 80 years old, because the themes are great, the characters are great, the animation's wonderful. You know, it's so rich in characterization, in themes. Zuko has one of the like best character arcs in fiction to me. He is such a wonderful character, the way that they really flesh out his decisions, his shame, and it's such a beautiful cartoon, and it's just so wonderful. So when I was first watching the show and I just adored the second and third seasons, that's when it turned into anger, because I thought back on the movie and then just how there was no joy, there was no characterization. Every theme is lost in the movie. It accomplishes nothing. Like, not even, you know, like a lot of the anime adaptations in the live action, you know, they sometimes at least have like a cool effect or like cool action. Like they usually have one thing they can hang their hat on.
That's something that is redeemable, something you can grab onto.
One
however
thing you can
desperately.
hold on to. one thing you can hold on to, but it is a failure in every sense of the word, and it almost killed this wonderful franchise. I'm just so glad that it went back to Netflix when it did, and Paramount was like able to realize, because it was, you remember that period of time where the Airbender cartoons were like the number one and number two things on Netflix for like 6 months straight.
Yeah,
it just got really popular again because they just realized like how much people love it, and that potentially could not have it could have not happened because of this movie. And it's just so sad that it delayed. You know, I still think they're right now making a new live action series that the creators stepped away from. Netflix is making it. I still think there's possibility that could be. I think that could be shit canned before it gets released.
It better be.
Or what could potentially happen is, I think, do you know how Netflix has been on a real streak of putting like a big budget into a thing and then just immediately canceling it like 2 days? Like, remember Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah.
How it was just immediately canceled. I feel like even if the live action Avatar cartoon or the live action new series comes out, I feel like they will immediately shit can it. Yeah. It's good. I
was going to ask you why you think there's been no attempts at rebooting it. I had no idea that was a thing, and Netflix is not the people I would pick for it.
Yeah, it's just they got the rights to it back when they got the rights to it when they.
That's why it's not on Paramount Plus then. Netflix currently has the rights.
It's not on Netflix either. That's the weird thing. It's not on any streaming service.
Well, this movie, but the cartoon is on Paramount Plus.
I think the cartoons might still be on Netflix as well. They might like share custody of it. I forget.
Custody?
Because I believe there's a whole legal battle after the fucking Last Airbender debacle. But yeah, it's just crazy. The one good thing is they're at least representing the characters. Like the Fire Nation actually are Asian. They actually have Inuit actors as some of the water tribe characters. Like they're trying, like they're trying, but I still don't think it's going to be good. And the creators being a part of the project and then leaving it is not a good sign.
Right.
Because I think what they saw happening was exactly what happened with the Last Airbender movie with M. Night, and that this isn't what our vision is. We're going to fucking bail because we actually can this time. And I think they learned their lesson as far as detaching themselves from it. And we get to, at the very least, we're getting one new animated movie. We're potentially getting a third animated series. I'm just so excited because I absolutely adore the cartoons. And this movie, rewatching it now, I can kind of like I said, the sequence of the 6 yoga earthbenders sending the pebble across the screen is one of the cinematic achievements of our lifetime, and I could watch that all day. So it's like there's some moments where it is so bad that it becomes good again, like the we talked about earlier. But just the fact that it almost killed one of my favorite franchises ever is a travesty.
Is this your Aragon or
Pretty
your
much.
Transformers?
Pretty much. I think the only cartoon I hold higher than the Avatar cartoon is Batman the Animated Series. It's like right up there for me. I absolutely adore that cartoon.
Over
I really
Justice
like Korra
League.
too. Yeah, I have actually watched. I have watched the Last Airbender cartoon all the way through like 4 times, like multiple times. I absolutely adore it. I've seen Korra all the way through like 2 or 3 times. I really like it too. I just don't like it quite
I
as
never
much.
finished
But it's very
Korra.
good. It's very good. The last couple of seasons of Korra actually take it even more like intellectual than the original cartoon did.
I think the guy blowing up in the boat is the last thing I remember.
Okay, yeah, that's the first season.
Okay.
The 3rd and 4th seasons of Korra.
There's 4 seasons?
Yeah, there were 4 seasons of Korra. Ron,
Jesus.
the villains of the 3rd and 4th seasons of Korra deal with themes of anarchy and fascism. Yeah, like it gets crazy that they were even able to fucking put that into a Nickelodeon cartoon.
Like a Nickelodeon. The theme is fascism. This face introduced kids to what fascism is.
Man, this movie is a fucking trip. I would totally watch this while shit-faced with friends in that kind of environment. I will never go out of my way to watch this again in my entire life. With the riff tracks.
Is this the second time you've seen it?
I saw it in the theater.
Right.
I watched it a second. I think this is the 3rd time I watched it because I watched it a second time after I originally finished the cartoons out of morbid fucking ill-advised curiosity.
And that, I guarantee, is the moment it turned to anger. Then, if you watched it right after that,
that is just like, when I got to view it as a fan instead of just a dude in the theater watching everyone look like their
you became the people in the theater. You became the people on the news broadcast.
I became the people walking out of the theater that night.
I am one of you.
Absolutely. Because I think this is more of a travesty than the Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh yeah,
I think
it's just Dragon Ball Evolution didn't take itself as seriously as this takes it.
Dragon Ball Evolution didn't take itself seriously and was made with like 1/4 the budget, if not 1/5 the budget.
And it was actually more of a kung fu movie than this was trying to be.
Oh, dude. The action sequences in Dragon Ball Evolution are the Raid compared to the Last Airbender, man. Holy fuck!
Have we not covered the Raid yet? Put that on the fucking list.
Wait. We need to cover the Raid and Raid 2 back to back because those movies are fucking badass, dude. I love those movies.
No. Those are commentaries.
That's true.
Those are commentaries. I'm writing that shit down.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
I own them.
Those movies. Yeah, me too. Love those movies.
Yeah,
Ron, would you like to introduce? Also, this was the last introduction of Soapey picking movies for the podcast, and go fuck yourself.
It was a good run, Soapey.
It was a good run, but it's over.
Thank you
Ron,
so much.
Ron, would you like to introduce our next selection next week?
Quick question before I do that. I should have asked you before the show. Are we introducing 2 since these are coming out weekly? Because I think that's what we did last year to give people enough time to get to everything.
Yeah, we can do that. And then the last one will still be a surprise.
Okay. So the very next one we are covering, this is coming out when? This one is coming out the 5th?
I think it's going to be every week in March, like every Saturday.
But this particular episode now comes out on the 5th. So
and then the next one will be the 12th.
The next one on the 12th. is going to be Thumbelina.
Thumbelina. Okay.
Have you ever seen Thumbelina?
I have not.
I have not seen it in a long time. It came out in '94. That's probably the last time I watched it.
I've not seen it.
That is my wife's pick.
There you go.
So,
what a fucking whiplash.
It has Gilbert Gottfried in it. That's all I know. I remember she's a really tiny lady.
Also, just got breaking news. My girlfriend Aurora was considering picking Thumbelina.
Was she really?
So, yeah, our significant others, thinking quite
like
alike.
Minds. That is scary.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know that I like this. I am uncomfortable. They're forming a coalition, Jeff.
They're a hive mind. Run. And then we received our third selection from our dear friend Bobby, who has selected, drumroll, Tombstone, which you and I have also not seen.
Unbelievable that he's not trolling us. Again, he gave us Spaceballs last year.
I know.
I knew for sure it was going to be Blazing Saddles if he didn't troll us. Also, by the way, we were half right. It was still a Western.
Yeah. So the year when it actually happens and he does troll us,
it's going to be bad.
Does it get worse than? I think that's actually gonna be worse than Last Airbender. He's got to be stocking up something special, right?
He's got to be.
It's got to be something just absolutely fucking diabolical.
If it's on film, that man has an appreciation for it in some form, whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, or he loves it because it's bad and it knows it's bad, like Attack of the Killer Donuts. Like,
see, I actually really like that movie.
That movie was really good. A lot of fun. The hammer when it bounces back. Anyways, yeah.
When Attack of the Killer Donuts is better than the movie than the Last Airbender. Good God! I'll probably
House Shark is a better movie.
When we upload this, I will probably reply into the tweets with the honest trailer and those audience reactions because everyone needs to see those.
You gotta do the image of Cliff Curtis trying to keep his costume on, or he's gonna have a wardrobe malfunction.
Oh man! Oh my God!
Malfunction junction. Oh,
good God!
It's so good.
What a fucking train wreck!
It's so good, and the look on his face is like, "Why am I here again? Oh right, I have a mortgage." Yeah,
it's just like that. One of my favorite quotes that anyone in Hollywood has ever said is someone at one point asked Michael Caine why the fuck he was in Jaws 3 or Jaws 4. I think it was Jaws 4. And he was just like,
I forgot Michael Caine is in those movies.
And then Michael Caine, being the absolute fucking just legend that he is, he said, "Yeah, I don't know if you know this quote, but he said, Jaws: The Revenge was not a good movie, but the house about with that paycheck was pretty great."
He is a gem and a national treasure the size of a tangerine.
Size of tangerine. And without context, my girlfriend thinks I'm crazy just for randomly spouting that sentence.
Because she hasn't seen it.
Yeah, she has not seen it.
I forgot. Oh,
yeah,
sweet summer child.
There you go. All right. Well, I need to go recharge my voice over the next week before the next recording happens. So that needs to happen. But if you would like to follow us more, please check us out on Twitter at SPR Filmcast for show updates. Any ratings, reviews on any of the platforms you're finding us on greatly help us out. And Ron, where can people find you on the interwebs when you are not reviewing movies like the cinematic achievement that is M. Night's? Thankfully, The Last Airbender.
That's what if we did episode titles, our own episode titles, that would be it. That would be it right there. That's the one I would write down. You can find me on YouTube and Twitter as @RonSenseTV, and I am actually probably about a week from now or so going to be doing some Mega Man X challenge runs on Twitch. So,
I think you would consider doing some more Dark Souls mulligan runs as well, right? Where you kind of still throwing out that idea?
Yeah, I was considering seeing if you wanted to do your own and we upload those to YouTube. I didn't know.
What do you think about me coming over and we actually do kind of like the passing the controller like we did for the original ones? That'd be pretty fun.
We could do that.
Yeah. Those are always really fun. And also, I haven't played Dark Souls in like a year, so I'm just even worse than I already was. It's going to be great.
And I'll leave it to you as if you come over to do them, if we do them live or if we record them.
cool.
It's a different energy either way. So
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be bad because it's us.
it's gonna
so
be bad, but it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of my live streams now, I no longer have a set schedule. I'm getting back in the saddle. I haven't done any content creation at all this year, but anything live, especially, will be announced via Twitter.
And there you have it.
Thumbelina.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, be sure to watch Thumbelina and
Thumbelina is available on Disney Plus, and Tombstone is on Hulu.
I thought last year's was a smorgasbord, but man, got the Last Airbender, Thumbelina, and Tombstone. That is,
and then God knows what from Aurora.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting.
I fear her. I feared her and Chris. I don't think Chris. I think this is just gonna be more not my speed. I don't think it's gonna necessarily be bad.
Yeah, I've never heard anything bad about Thumbelina.
I never have either. But that still leaves one, and I feel like Aurora has a knowledge of film to be feared.
To be reckoned with.
To be reckoned with. On the level of Last Airbender, probably. I don't know. We'll see.
Is anything on the level of the Last Airbender? Has any bit of incompetence captured on film? Mate, what was that movie? House Shark.
House Shark. I fucking love House Shark.
I probably hate House Shark more than I hate the Last Airbender.
Was House Shark the one with the stuffed dude in the library? Like his grandpa or something? I
feel like, God, we did a little series where we were intentionally picking just the fucking worst.
I missed that.
There was one that was offensively bad. Was it House Shark? One of them was offensively bad. Like not.
It was House Shark.
I think it's got to be House Shark. Just offensively.
What was
terrible
the one with the disgruntled real estate agent? That was the guy that he had his grandpa like stuffed in the library like a fucking bear.
Man, was House Shark the one where the guy's randomly Abraham Lincoln? Was that
No,
one?
that's the one I'm thinking of. The guy the Abraham Lincoln guy is the disgruntled real estate agent that's trying to take down the shark.
This is a more interesting plot than the Last Airbender, by the way.
But he's the one that keeps going back to his stuffed grandfather that's in the corner of the library.
God, what fucking movie?
I don't remember now. But I feel like we need to do live streams on YouTube of watch parties. Just about every service supports it now. We would have to do anything on Prime on Twitch, but unless we just said, "Hey, sync up at 000 and start." But
yeah, those were a lot of fun.
Those were a lot of fun, and
usually it was just us shooting the shit for like an hour and a half
because there was nothing else to do because the movies were so bad.
Yeah. Then I think we watched a couple that were
Velocipaster.
Velocipaster was a fucking work of art, and I will hear no opinions to the contrary. Okay.
Velocipaster was great.
Stuff like that I can get by when they clearly know what's happening, but when it's just a cringe fest of just it being offensively bad, like House Shark and the other fucking one we can't think of.
Is House Shark the one that the only thing left of the guy was his sphincter? Was that House Shark? Do you remember that? Just his anal sphincter was the only thing left of him, and they're like holding it in their hand.
House Shark. House Shark. If I'm looking at the right photos, I think House Shark.
Is that the 20-year-old in the Abraham Lincoln beard trying to be like a 50 or 60-year-old?
The offensively just
you can almost see the strings on his beard. Like it's amazing.
That's the one I was thinking of that was just so offensively bad I wanted to die. That's the one I'm thinking of.
You watched it on a plane and you walked out.
And then the dude doing doesn't he have like a Swedish accent or something for no reason?
I think it changes.
Stupid.
I think it changes as the movie goes.
It's so stupid.
Just much like the Last Airbender, the accents change as the movie goes.
Now I'm just questioning, like, if you put a gun to my head, it's just like you get to watch, you have to watch House Shark or The Last Airbender again. I think I'm watching House Shark again.
What's the one that my image is from? The one where they put Hitler's brain in a shark. Because that one I remember being very what the fuck was so good.
See now
we watched so many shark ones back to back. I don't remember.
Well, that's like because of Sharknado. That's like half the B movie fucking population. But also, you just led me to Google Hitler brain in a shark into my phone and end up on several watch lists. So thanks for that. I have no idea. Sharkenstein.
Sharkenstein. That's it.
There you go.
That's the Frankenstein shark with Hitler's brain.
Yeah.
Oh, what a glorious bunch of movies. All better than The Last Airbender.
All better than The Last Airbender. Yeah. Put that on the Blu-ray. You should have been watching House Shark. She's
Not
been
as
watching
good as
Shark and Sigh.
Velocipaster.
It's all right, but it's no Velocipaster.
Uh,
Oh god, we gotta get the fuck out of here, dude. Let's just call it a day. Bye, everybody. Okay. Testing for the 500th time. Blah 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 blah. All right. You ready?
sure.
Let's do it.
I'm king of false starts, remember?
You are. One more thing. One more thing.
That might be the outro. Hold on. I do want to start a new recording. Okay, now I'm ready.